So how is the balance between your personal and professional life going, Cancer? Let's reflect on this question as we jump into your reading. Hi, I'm Madeline. If we haven't met before, this over here is Lavash. Very pleased to have you, Cancer. So why do I ask that question? The eclipses have begun. On March 25th, we had an eclipse in your fourth house, your house of home, family, roots, your past, ancestral, etc., in the sign of Libra. And upcoming on April 8th, we will have another eclipse, a new moon, in your house of career, your public role, and destiny. So the balance between your private life and your public life is in question. You may have had some kind of revelation, new understanding, even like a rupture or a pop or an explosion around your home, your family, your living situation, or the connections of, wow, your cards are jumping. Okay, and now on April 8th, that new moon in your 10th house, that's potent stuff. Take some time, take some space. If you can at all, emotionally, physically, literally, like declutter and carve out some time to be in peace and a little bit of reflection, and ask yourself, what is showing up for you in that realm? Has there been any big revelations or shifts in that direction, or are you feeling anything from the inside? Just curious how you show up in the world and the platform from which you launch into that public role. How is the balance between those things? Is anything required? Does anything need to shift? Okay. Let's get into the story of your month. As always, Cancer, I'm going to pull a tarot spread to look at the plot of your story this month, and then we will close off with some advice from Spirit from the Star Codes Astro Oracle deck. So, Spirit, thank you for being present, loved ones and guides of Cancer, elevated ancestors and loved ones, those in the white light who guard and guide Cancer Sun, Cancer Moon, Cancer Rising, Cancer Dominant folks. Spirit, please show us what is showing up for Cancer in the month of April, and how Cancer themselves is showing up. Want to understand the dynamics at play and how Cancer can work within them for their highest good. What they need to know, Spirit. What is going on in the present, anything relevant from the recent past as it pertains to the unfolding future, helpful or hindering influences around Cancer in the month of April. Spirit, what do you want them to know for their highest good? We want to help Cancer walk into the future that is most secure, peaceful, loving, abundant, easeful as possible, where they feel clear, coherent, excited to be here. How do we help Cancer get there, Spirit? What do you want to share with them, please? The truth of the upcoming month for their highest good. Let's see what we got here. This feels like a little bit of a fat stack. Okay, yep. Got some bonus cards. Spirit's got some things to say. I mean, 4th house, 10th house, that's big stuff. Makes sense. That's, the roots and the branches. And, healthy roots, healthy fruits. Unhealthy roots, unhealthy fruits. That's what they're saying. And you don't need to worry if you feel like you are on the end where you feel a little unhealthy or a little withered, or like the roots need a little tending. That just means your roots need a little tending. It is as simple is different from easy, but it is as simple as that. Spirit is saying that. Show up for yourself with a lot of compassion, okay, Cancer? 4th house, 10th house, that's big stuff. I knew this was going to be up, and it was first card up. I could just fucking feel it. So this is your card, Cancer, the Chariot. Really beautiful card, especially when we're talking about the upcoming eclipse in your 10th house of career and destiny. The Chariot is victory. It is not just overcoming obstacles, but leveraging the obstacles that show up and knowing that they are serving you reaching your goal. Saying, okay, this fear is showing up. What is it telling me? How do I make this into fuel? You know what I mean? Spirit is saying the first people who struck oil just thought they made a big fucking mess because they didn't understand the value of, this thick, black, viscous stuff known as fear, known as doubt, known as insecurity. If you are trying to avoid the shame, the fear, the doubt, the regret, the insecurity, then you are doing it wrong. It's time to turn into the skid. This is what Spirit is saying. It's time to move into the shame. Not because now let me feel ashamed. No, it is time to face and be and sit with the shame and start to question it and start to dissolve it with love, with compassion, with understanding and forgiveness. We've only pulled one card. Let's keep going. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Facing fears. It's going to be worth it, and you are going to be feeling satisfied. It's going to open new doors, but you do have to face them. What if Spirit told you that going into the quote-unquote shame, going into the wound, going into the broken heart would get you everything that you wanted? Would bring you the assistance that you need? Could change things in ways that are unexpected, but also very much desired. Okay. So the Chariot at the center. What is it that you want? Turn toward it. And don't avoid the skid. We turn into the skid. You know what happens if we try to avoid it? We end up hydroplaning, we end up crashing. So, now, Spirit is saying, we're telling you this now. Sort this out. Face this. Be with this. Don't avoid this. If you want to, do it. Your free will is everything. That's your divine right? You are all powerful in that sense. Spirit can come through and offer and invite anything, and you get to do what you please. If you want to avoid the shame, avoid the shame. I feel that if you do that, it will end in a tower moment. It will be like, wow, I really wish I had just gone in the basement and investigated that funny sound, because then I would have found out that our boiler was amiss and now, the whole motherfucker burned down. Not literally. Don't freak out. This is all metaphor. It's like there was a small problem, and if I could have just addressed this small problem, I could have avoided a whole lot of fucking bullshit. You know what I'm talking about? So if there's a creak in your car, if there's a crack in your tooth, whatever, address that. Turn into the skid. Okay? Okay. That is what's going to bring you satisfaction. Avoidance is going to hold you back and break your heart. Where you find yourself feeling a little bit alone, feeling a little bit separate. The Three of Swords is no doubt a painful card, but it is not a card of definitive endings. It is not a card of nothing is going to work out. It's a card of I'm feeling so down and I'm feeling so, it's Spirit is saying on the edge. It's am I all by myself? You are not, but you are very powerful, and so that illusion can seem very real. Okay, and I am not trying to bypass. I am not trying to say that none of you all are going through anything that is extremely isolating or that you aren't alone. But it's I'm gonna get a little woo-woo and you're here listening to a tarot reading, so I don't feel like I have to apologize or preface for that. That in the truest way, you can never be alone because you are part of a massive, imagine yourself as a flower or a blade of grass in a vast meadow. You are a part of a massive field. We are all connected, and even when we choose to disconnect, because that is again our divine right, to close the aperture on our lens, to close in because it hurts and we don't want to let the light in, that's okay. You can do that, as Spirit alluded to in the beginning. Showing yourself compassion no matter what is really the key here. And the more that we do that, the more that we convince ourselves and tell ourselves, nobody loves me, nobody cares, or nobody understands, or nobody will understand or see me, or blah, 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 blah. And the more that we say that, the more that we can cultivate that, because that is how powerful we are. sitting in the basement of your reading and sitting in the past. Two cards that I pick up together because they are very much connected. And as a matter of fact, let us not forget your crossing card. There's a little bit of a similarity here, right? Like, they're different energies, but they're in the same posture. A little bit of like, I'm good right here. I'm good just like this. You know what I mean? I feel like this is fine. And yet the Chariot sits at the center of your reading saying there is somewhere else that you want to go, and it feels really important, and it feels really impassioned and exciting, and it's like a pull more than a push. I think you're tired of being pushed, and it's time to go with like where you are pulled. You know what I mean? Pulled over here, and then when I'm go onto a skid, I'm going to turn into it. When the fear shows up as I am trying to expand and improve my life, I am not going to take that as a sign that I should turn around. I'm going to know that that's what happens when we choose to improve our life deliberately, when we choose to do new things deliberately, when we choose to develop ourselves deliberately. We will face insecurity and shame and fear. Turn into the skid. Meet them with compassion. The devil is not evil. The devil is nothing to be afraid of. The devil is, all of us sometimes would like to avoid pain and seek pleasure, but avoiding pain and seeking pleasure does not bring about satisfaction. It brings pleasure. It brings a sense of perhaps stagnant ease, but it doesn't feel like flow, and it doesn't feel like grow. Sorry for the Dr. Seussness. If you've been here before, you already know they do this to me. Don't hold on to what you are having at the cost of your own ability to explore, to expand. Okay? Are you holding on to a habit, a situation, a dynamic, a substance, and is it costing you everything? That's what Spirit is saying. And I don't mean to be dramatic. Like, Spirit is just using hyperbole. Spirit speaks in poetry. What is it costing you to hold on to this? What is it costing you to hold yourself separate and take things on and suffer in silence? Please don't. Your crowning card, Knight of Wands, plenty of opportunity to move, plenty of passion. You are lit up. And I'm going to need you to trust yourself more. That's something that I'm hearing from Spirit. In the key position, the Hermit. Spirit is saying, well, Cancer, like hermit crab. Like, the hermit crab finds a shell. He lives there. That's his whole deal. Eventually, though, he grows out of it. And there's a very vulnerable, frightening period where that crab has to find a shell that now fits its new evolution, its new amount of growth. Literally, like, I cannot fit in, I've outgrown this. And it is vulnerable and it is frightening. But the hermit trusts themselves, and Spirit is saying, Cancer, you can trust yourself. Your life is changing. Your life is changing. You've evolved. Some of you are stepping into a very big new role. And big is relative. It feels big to you, or it is big in the world. It doesn't matter. You're stepping into a bigger place, and it requires some deep reflection and deep self-trust. This is a very courageous move that lots of you all want to make. And I mean, this is the nature of doing general readings, right, Cancer? Is I'm an intuitive reader, I'm a medium, I'm hearing from Spirit, and I'm hearing for some of you that urge and that desire, that passion, that pull is going to pull you out into the world and have you looking more into yourself and feeling confidence in your perspective, your vision, what you know to be true, the Hermit, their lantern, right? The light inside of you. And some of you are going to feel afraid of embracing that, and there's going to be shame and insecurity that comes around embracing your bigness or your brightness. If you feel insecurity and doubt nipping at your heels, turn around and throw them a treat. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to stop them. You don't need to kill them. You need to form a relationship with them. Turn into the skid. Turn on the lights in the basement. Go down and look and hear what the funny noise is. You know what I'm talking about? Now, Spirit is using an example, and I'm going to share this because this feels like one of those moments where this is metaphorical, but Spirit could mean this literally. So for anybody that this pings off of, please look into this. They're like, in the same way that we're talking about like a funny noise in the basement, we want to talk literally about like a funny smell. Or it's like, is that mold? I'm afraid that might be mold. Oh well, forget about it. I'm gonna go on with my life. And then the like low key, this mold or this depression, which is like the emotional mold, starts to creep in and take over. And again, this could result in a tower moment down the line if you don't face the small version of it now. You know what I'm saying? If you face it, the world opens up for you, sitting in the future. 2 of Wands and the 6 of Pentacles. Sitting in the energy around and available to you, being seen, being appreciated, being noticed. How much are you treasuring and prioritizing yourself, and how much are you avoiding treasuring and supporting yourself? If you are avoiding it, if you are sublimating your needs, your desires, your rage, that's not the fucking move. That's going to result in a tower moment. They just keep saying it, so I'm saying it to you, okay? So instead, let's look out and think about how things could be moved in a way that feels more reciprocal, that feels more flowing, not 4 of Pentacles, not the devil, not stuck here. How do we create flow? You know what? I need more time, so I'm going to need you, domestic partner, to take over washing the dishes or doing the laundry or whatever. And if they are not willing to do that, if they are not willing to give and take, then you've got a separate problem that you need to think about and address and reflect upon, right? But there are ways, it seems like there's the availability, the money, the chores, the bandwidth. There's ways to move it around, but not if you hold tight to it and say that, no, this is my responsibility and I'm stuck here and this is the only way and etc. That's the devil talking. The devil just being the kind of immature aspect of us that fears growth. That, you know, as they say, like the ego, we go through an ego death when we really change, and that's a very frightening thing, and that's why most people don't change. I'm a person who very much believes and knows that people can change. Absolutely, like, absolutely. Anybody can change. Most people won't, because that shit is hard. Because to really change fundamentally, you have to stay conscious almost all of the time. And most of us love to go unconscious and love to start reverting to our programming. It's no shade. It's like these amazing human brains that we have that automate things. Like, oh yeah, you get up in the morning and you brush your teeth. Yeah, you get up in the morning and you feel guilty. I got that. Don't worry about it. You don't have to think about why you're guilty, okay? So just get up and think about it, because that's how you were set up. You know what I'm talking about, Cancer? Please let me know. I'm very curious. Sitting in the potential position, the hopes and the fears that you have is that there is something that you can build that you will be proud of, joyful about. Main hello, 4th and 10th house. How you take care of yourself, how you build and cultivate and grow your self-concept has a direct impact on how you show up, what you create in the world. Healthy roots, healthy fruits. Don't worry about making the branches and the fruits, like, don't paint the fucking nectarines the right colors if they're green. You go to the roots. You address the roots, Cancer, okay? You go within. You be with you. You take this good lantern and this wise mind to this broken heart, and you ask it what it needs, and you listen. And if it doesn't tell you right away, then it just needs a little trust. And you build trust. You build relationships, you grow them, you cultivate them. So be patient with you. And I guarantee that if you keep showing up for you and you keep asking and you keep listening, the answers will come. Have courage. Turn into the skid. How's that sound to you, Cancer? What's showing up? That's quite a deep reading, but hey, if you've been here before, you know that's kind of what I do. I kind of can't help myself. I hope that it is truly helpful for you, Cancer, and I would love to hear any reflections you might have. If you know what this is already, or if you have questions or reflections or want to ask about the eclipses, let me know. That's what to do. And if you ever want a personal reading, the way to do that is also just south of this video. Thank you for being here, Cancer. I'm wishing you a blessed and easeful eclipse. And if I don't see you in your mid-month reading, then I hope I will see you next month. Till then, bye, Cancer.